All right. All right. What is up, guys? Last little conversation for what I have lovingly referred to as the Blasphemous Sunday triple header. Once again, we're going to have another viewer we're going to be talking to. Thankfully, this one is an atheist, and I don't have to try to attack his ideology. We can just have a pretty open conversation. So you guys have probably seen him in the chat before, Wujeeta. I'm not sure how many people's here yet. I'm sure more will show up. I probably overworked them. So go ahead and tell us about yourself, Wujeeta, and then feel free to ask me anything that you would like to ask me.
Well, what's up, guys? I'm Wujeeta. I'm black. Also Hispanic. So
I might have to take issue with that. Prove to me that you're black. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, it's refreshing. I can see your face. I'm getting tired of the profile pictures. No offense, like profile pictures that aren't trolls are a lot better than profile pictures that are trolls. But it's nice to have a face to speak to.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm black and Hispanic. So, when I first became an atheist, I was about 15 or 16, and I actually had no idea about the atheist community on YouTube. I literally remember I was just sitting outside where I lived at the time on the asphalt, and I'm just trying to make sense, because at this point Christianity made that's bullshit, and I was theist at the time, and I was just thinking, I can't make sense of this. And I remember I kept asking my grandmother and my mother, who were very, very Christian, and the shit they kept saying, it just kept pushing me further and further away because it made no sense. So eventually I just said fuck it. And when I came out, it was that shit was traumatic, because I was on my way to work, and again, I'm like 15, 16, and my mom's driving me to work, and I told her, and she was pissed. And I remember that whole day at work, I was just upset, and just.
So which one is your mom, the black woman or Mexican?
My mom is black. My dad is Puerto Rican and Dominican, actually.
All right, so Puerto Rican and Dominican, yeah, there's a big difference. So was your mom? What kind of church did your mom go to, and did she go like regularly every Sunday?
I was raised Catholic, but by the time that happened, and until now, she's one of those what is it? Trying to think of the denomination, like Presbyterian, maybe something. No, what is it, like the the people who say that they're saved and all the other Christians are full of crap. But yeah, I'm trying to remember what they're called.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, one of them. And I remember I used to get, after I told her I was an atheist, then she started forcing me to go to church. And again, that was just me learning shit to just go, wow, this is a load of crap.
And you said you was about like 15 when you told her?
Yeah.
Holy crap, man.
And what I remember is talking to my dad about it, and that was when I found out my dad hadn't believed in any of that crap for years, and he just made it so much more comfortable, man. And I like, because on one side of the family, I'm getting ridiculed for being different. Then I go to my dad, he's like, yeah, whatever, that's cool. And that shit is refreshing.
That helps. I didn't have that. When I came out, when I actually came out to my parents, I came out to my mom first, and she was raised like deep South Tennessee church, snake handler type church in the hills of Tennessee. So like they were literally handling the snakes and doing that crazy crap. And my dad, well, when I was raised, wasn't ever religious, and he's the one that actually ended up with custody of us. So we grew up in that not so religious, we believe, but we didn't go to church type atmosphere, even though we were in the South surrounded by all these Southern Baptists. But when I started coming out about my atheism, at that point, my dad is hardcore Southern Baptist. So like the first thing he said to me when he found out about my atheism is, it's just a phase. And that always stuck with me, like, no, it's not a phase. This took a long time to get here,
See that.
I couldn't imagine it coming from two different cultures, though. And it's cool that your dad didn't believe, because I know a lot of the Hispanic culture are devout Catholics. So yeah, it's really cool that you had that support structure, and especially coming out so early. I mean, 15 years old. That's pretty hard to come out to your mom at 15 years old and tell her, no, mom, everything I think that you believe is bullshit. You know.
Yeah, my what I find great is like because my dad, he has his own, like I have siblings that are my dad's own kids, and like my two brothers over there, they don't believe that crap either, and it's just beautiful. It just makes me sad that both my sisters are knee deep in the bullshit. Like my mom's kid and my dad's kid, they're both, you know, their mothers are heavily religious, so it's just all getting absorbed in, while the rest of us like, you fucking idiots.
Yeah, and that's what they don't get. And you know, like the trolls in the chat from the conversation earlier is talking about Christians get persecuted too. I'm like, seriously, no, they don't. Not here in America. They make out this war against Christianity. It's a fake war. It doesn't exist. They can't understand the pressures you have to endure to actually work up the courage to, if you're raised in that kind of a household.
I don't think any of them understand like that, the pain of being forced to go into a place where you already know that you don't believe any of that crap, you know what's wrong, and it's already painful knowing that people you're related to believe that, and you want them to stop for their own sake. But then now you're surrounded by all these people, and you're just like, now I gotta look at all these people who believe in this stuff, and I just feel like crap because I know no matter what I do, they're just knee deep in the bullshit, you know?
Yeah. This one guy, it's a different war that I'm talking about. The war that I'm talking about right now is the fake media war, the war on Christians, how we're trying to get rid of Christianity out of the country, and there's this war on Christmas. The war I was referring to you in our conversation was the actual war of Christians burning atheists at the stake, you know, the witch hunts, blah, blah, blah. You know, that the real war, not the fake one that I'm talking about right now.
Christians, I don't know, man. That war is on everybody. I mean, shit, even Christians who slightly disagree at a certain point would get fucking burned.
Yeah. Even the ones that you're cool with at one point or another are going to burn you. You know, that's happened to me. I had a really good friend, and I've spoken of Greg, the guy I started doing YouTube with. We were really good friends, but sooner or later, they're unintentionally, it's almost like their religion is going to force them to say something degrading to you. And you're either going to be a bigger person and ignore it, or you're going to be like I often get and just really go at them and end a friendship. You know.
See, for me, I'm lucky. Like my friends, you know, my friends, I still got the same friends from high school. You know, we're in college now. You know, for the most, like you know, in high school, like at least like three out of us already atheist. You know, me and my two main boys.
You're lucky.
And then my other friend at the time, you know, we were talking about how retarded religion was in lunch one time, and he's like, "Excuse me, guys," and we're like, "We don't give a shit about your feelings. We're talking about the beliefs. So shut up." And you know, he's already a dumbass. We're like, you know, go be stupid and leave us alone. And you know, a couple months ago, I just talked to him. He was like, "Yeah, I'm atheist now." And in the back of my mind, I'm just like, "Yes."
Yeah, you might have planted that seed.
Yeah. And I actually, I do remember when I was Christian, like back in like the 8th grade. This is my one moment that I will always regret. A friend of mine, he told me he was atheist. Now, for me, I didn't even really take my faith all that seriously, but this was the first time I'd ever encountered someone like that. And I gave him, you know, the bullshit, like, how do you know, and all that dumb shit. And I just, like, after becoming an atheist, I felt so bad.
Yeah, I have a moment like that. We terrorized a kid in our high school that claimed to be atheist because it's just what you did down there. Like, I haven't been down there in so long. I'm almost interested to go down there and try to do a study to see if it's still the same dynamics for an atheist, you know, because I wasn't an atheist at that point. We were terrorizing the atheists, and they call hell, you know, like to us, they were demons, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of Christians today still believe that about it. People think that I joke, but I literally get accused of eating the brains of babies. Like, people think that. Just because I'm an atheist, I eat babies, and it's no joke, you know.
You know what's bad is I heard that, but I don't remember if I heard it when I was still Christian or whenever. But I just remember hearing, I'm like, there's no way anybody actually believes something that fucking stupid.
Yeah, you think
And
they don't, and then
until
you're hoping they're trolls, you know.
and then I just dove headfirst into atheist YouTube and just saw so much stupid, and
Yeah,
it made me
it's
so sad. How to how people at the first the projection of the projections of belief and all that, and not even understanding what atheism is, conflating it to be other things. Just
yeah. I have yet to meet another atheist that thinks exactly like I do. You know, like
yeah,
we are all different. You know, the one thing about us is we tend usually to be very accepting people. There are those dynamics that I talk about where some atheists do actually go for atheism for a different reason than most of us do, like to where, you know, we're open and we want to be inclusive. Some people or we're rejected by the violence in the Bible or the bad stuff in the Bible. Some people think that the Bible actually isn't violent enough or doesn't go far enough, and they will become atheists, but completely different atheists than I would ever want to be associated with. I would never associate with them in a million years because there's some neo-Nazi, you know, skinhead with a swastika on his forehead right here. So like, and that's the thing that Christians don't, they try to make us a religion or an ideology that's it's one thing that we all believe in evolution or we all believe this, we all believe that. Nah, dude, atheism is not that at all.
I actually, when I first discovered you, one of the first videos I watched was the video on the atheist cult, and when you said that in the video that they became atheists because the Bible wasn't violent enough, I was like, of course, those are the kinds of people, the only kind of people the only kind of people who would become atheists for the wrong reasons would be just violent, hateful fuckheads.
Yeah, yeah. Hunter Avalone. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's a huge young YouTuber.
He pisses me off.
And I've made like 3 videos on him, and I've deleted every single one of them because I just get so atrociously horrible with this little kid. I mean, he's probably in early 20s, so I shouldn't call him a little kid, but he just acts like a little child. And he's so hateful. And it's like, dude, you are an atheist. You're claiming to be an atheist, and you disgust me. I wouldn't want anything to do with you.
He's an atheist now.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what he says. Yeah.
Because because I got deep into that anti-SJW stuff after going into the atheist part of YouTube, and at first it was fun. It was fun during that part when there was a lot of going up against those the actual crazies and fighting the logic. But at a certain point, there wasn't. It wasn't, there was no logic anymore. Like the people who actually were actually had logic and were what I wanted out of it, they moved on, and all that were left were the people who I didn't realize while they were doing that, like people like Andy Worski and such, who were they're just right wing people who I don't really agree with in any way. And Hunter was on that list, and I could be wrong, but at the time I thought that Hunter, at least at that time, was religious, because I think I remember him having videos about how horrible atheists are, and it's actually surprising for me to hear that.
Yeah, he might have. He came on my radar when him and Amazing Atheist had beef about a year ago. So I'm not sure, like before that, what it was.
I dropped off that whole part of YouTube like 2-3 years ago. So
I did too. I got turned off by the anti-SJW thing, and I agree with you. I think that they went too far. I think they had a noble cause that was really pretty much trolled and infiltrated by the alt-right, and and it really it made that conversation toxic. It became anti-liberal instead of anti-SJW because both right and left are SJW twats. Like I get it all the time. Like, stop being PC or stop raging, and I'm like, stop coming at me with that PC bullshit. I'm gonna be me. I don't believe in that SJW shit, but at the same time, you fail to recognize all the SJW bullshit that the right does. They get butthurt over every little thing, yet we're the SJW fucktards. I don't accept that at all.
Like for me, a good part of why I got into that whole thing was that for me, I've I've never identified with either right or left. Like I'm definitely more. I'm like my political views. I'm left. I'm definitely left, but I've never identified with each side because they're just
Well,
the same shit.
yeah, I think I'm the same way. Like I am left, but we left people here in America just don't really have a true representation. We have right and we have middle right. You know, that's pretty much what the Democrat. Now we're on the left. We're trying to change that, and we'll see. I mean, this 2020 is going to be huge. We'll determine if there's actually going to be a left in this country. But I'm also not afraid to say if I have a right-leaning belief, you know, or if somebody on the right says something that makes sense, or even Donald Trump's punk ass, if he does something that it makes sense to me, you know, I'm going to say, hey, I like that, even though I'm going to catch hell from the left. And I did. Like when it came to Syria, I'm not going to bitch at Donald Trump getting out of a war. I mean, on the left, we're supposed to be anti-war. Why are you guys bitching about him getting out of a war? Like, bitch about something else, you know?
That was something that was one thing that annoyed me about you know, SJWs. Though at the time it was like when somebody they were against all the time would do something that's agreeable, that makes sense, and they would still go after him, but then it would go after their ideal, which is something that I see. You know, you see the right do all the time. This person, like, they hate somebody so much, doesn't like, oh, now they're doing something we agree with. Now that's bad.
Yeah,
I hate that shit.
Yeah, it's the inconsistency that, like I said, I grew up conservative Republican, and the conservative Republicans today would not be considered conservative Republicans when I grew up a conservative Republican. They're more far right leaning, alt right, fringe Nazi ideology, to where conservative Republicanism isn't about hating other people. It's basically about not spending more than what you make, you know, being financially responsible. This whole bullshit of family value dynamics got incorporated into conservatism late 80s, I would say, and it became a winning point for Republicans. And now it's pretty much warped what conservatism is really about, which is fiscal responsibility. You know, you know, they scream big government but love war. I mean, you can't be for small government if you like war, if you support war. That goes against the whole notion of it. But you know, that's just me. That's my ramblings as a disappointed former Republican.
Yeah, I just I love the anti-globalists though, because they're just so retarded. You know?
Yeah,
they're like, oh, globalism is going to destroy everything, while they live in a giant ass globalist economy. Where
like I do like there is some element of truth when people are like, you know, we need to have strong borders, especially when you look at fundamental Islam that preaches that, you know, not all Muslims believe this, but the fundamentals believe that the caliphate needs to spread across the world. Infidels need to be put to death. So pretty much they want to spread across the world and infiltrate the world and create a worldwide caliphate. And so I can understand your arguments for it, but they're still arguments of fear, even if they're valid. And the way to combat fear is not to run away from it, but to face it. You know, so the only way you change that fundamentalism is with truth, with knowledge, with actually engaging in conversation instead of being afraid with them. Say, no, this is how you're wrong. So, you know, it's even though that even they may even be starting from a premise of truth, say, hey, you know, we should be afraid of, say, Islamic terrorists or Muslims because they have this ideology. Your method of dealing with that fear is not the healthy method, and thence we only have more problems. You know, but we're pansy liberals when we say stuff like that. You know,
I think it's pretty obvious what we do with Islam. We just like I had to do a college project on their government, and it's like it seems like the younger people are trying to move towards a more liberal political system. So it seems like we just have to give them time, and they'll be able to fit in with the rest.
Yes, and I do agree with that, and I think that I think Bernie's going to win because I think young people are going to turn out and vote for Bernie. But then there are opposite sides of that make me afraid. Like I said, I'm sure you've seen some of my work on MMA Jenkins, but you know, she's goofy and funny and it's hilarious. But then if you look at the movement she leads, Way to Life, it's really, really serious and it's not goofy at all. And you realize that MMA Jenkins is this really goofy marketing tool for a very evil cause. And that's pretty much to combat what you were just saying about how the youth is becoming more liberal, more progressive, open community, trying to be accepting of people, to where this is, let's indoctrinate youth and make them very right-leaning, make them very Christian, conservative, evangelical hardliners. And it's really, it's disturbing. Thankfully, the movement that you're speaking about, the youth movement, being a liberal one, is much bigger than that. But I think that if Donald Trump wasn't so stupid, if he was more of a political guru as they think he is, then he could have really manipulated the youth to overwhelm any liberal movement that we might have had going. But thankfully, he's just an idiot and didn't take advantage of that.
The one good thing about Trump is he's a dumbass and not an evil genius. So
yeah, he's just an idiot. It's like, I think anybody could have seen, and I think the Republican Party saw that, and we're actually doing a really good job of manipulating the youth, especially when Bernie lost, and they were able to really expose Hillary as cheating Bernie Sanders. They were able to turn the youth against the liberals for a short time. And then I saw more and more young people just like spouting this really hateful right rhetoric. But then they failed at it just because the guy that they propped up as this messiah of conservatism just turned out to be Donald Trump.
What really scares me, though, about what you said about MMA Jenkins is just how fucked our education is. A lot of the stuff that like Aaron Ross fighting against, that shit is scary.
Yeah. I don't think that these Christian colleges that are teaching a warped curriculum should be able to do that without some kind of regulation over them. And that's one of the things that the Trump administration is really attacking, especially Betsy DeVos, is our ability to look at these institutions and make sure that they're teaching an accurate curriculum at the very least. And now, so this could become an even worse problem before we're able to fix it. And it is very scary. And what even middle to moderate universities that are private universities, not state funded, now under these new laws that have been passed using executive orders and late night congressional votes, they can pretty much teach whatever they want to teach now. Like it's really disturbing to look what's going on, and then everybody only talks about Russia. And I'm like, I'd much rather hear about what Betsy DeVos is doing to our educational system than Russia. Yeah. It gets frustrating for somebody that if you really know kind of the deflection that's going on and feeding the rating machine, it's disgusting. Which I think he worked with Russia, but I just don't want to hear it all the time.
No. But the one thing about that education problem that, although it scares me, it also gives me some hope. Because, we've had, obviously racism still exists in this country. And people are like, oh, why is it still an issue? We see it right there. Their education is fucked. They're not learning proper history, and their perception of reality is completely screwed. So I think if we can, defeat that, the bullshit politics that are messing up their education, we can completely eliminate that problem. It might take a generation or two, but we can eliminate that problem. It's feasible. We have a target to go at.
And I think we truly need to address the problem, and that is this country's history with race. They try to run away from it, or they try to whitewash it. But I've always seen it as a problem from the very beginning. Of course, not just slavery, but slavery was a huge part from the very beginning of the history of this country. But then, the genocide that we've committed upon the Native Americans or pretty much any of our enemies, we've never been gentle with the enemies of America. Not bringing in third world countries with the technology that we've had, not being a sharing, inclusive society, being a society that has placed others. And then we address that with a civil war, but we don't really address it. We don't really solve that problem. We allow for Reconstruction. We allow for the South to continue considering that heritage as heritage instead of being traitors. There's a lot of mistakes that we've made, and we've never completely addressed that problem that we created a country that was supposed to be for everybody, that was supposed to be freedom for everybody, and yet we went against those very foundations for most of our country, and then just ignore that issue. And then I see white people all the time, like I get it all the time because they think that I'm a white dude because I look like I'm a white dude. They're like, or they'll find out that I have my native blood, and they're like, well, your white blood automatically overpowers your native blood. I'm like, how much sense does that make? You're a fucking idiot. Why don't you realize that you yourself are not white anymore? This is America. We're all fucking mutts. We all have a little bit of everything. So get over your fucking selves and hate somebody for being an asshole and not for just looking differently.
I never understood that shit with people. People just eliminate your heritage. For me, like I said I'm Black and Hispanic, but there's like just recently so much different shit, and that's just what I default on based upon what's most prevalent, and it's just like I've told, it annoyed me when I tell people like that, these are the, like, they ask me what I am, and I go down the list, and they're just like, nah, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, unless you just came from like Germany or Norway or some shit like that, like more than likely you're not really a white dude. Unless you just came from Africa, more than likely you're not really a Black dude. We're all a mix, and it's just ridiculous to me. But the hope that I really see, and I've seen it with my daughter, is, and I've seen it in my generation, the more that our generations are segregated together, the more that we're growing up around each other, all that old hatred just gets pushed out the door with actual life experience. And I think the numbers are growing fewer and fewer with every generation. I would hope so. So I do see hope for America one day to be that racially free place that most of us hope to see one day. I would hope. But then all you have to do is get on YouTube, and it's not too hard to find the opposition to that.
I don't like that rhetoric some people have where they think white people are racist and all that crap. Because for me, I can see it, that all we need to do is just eliminate failures and understanding, and everybody can move past it. Like you said, we need to address the issue. And we need to properly educate people on what happened. We can't have people not understanding what the Civil War was about. What the Civil War is about. Like, you can't have people over here just confused on why people are upset about slavery.
We literally today, I get this shit all the time. Like the Civil War wasn't about slavery. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, that is the utmost the South receded because of slavery. The issue was slavery. For you to say that it wasn't slavery, well, Abraham Lincoln didn't go to war with the South to free the slaves. That's bullshit. His Emancipation Proclamation led the war. So I mean, that was always his stance. For you to say that it wasn't, it's just how people are so miseducated about what actually happened, what transpired. They'll, in the same breath that they lie about Lincoln not wanting to free the slaves, they'll uphold him as some kind of great man who did use his powers as president kind of like a dictator to achieve his accomplishments. I'm glad he did so. But if he were to pull the shit, if say Trump were to pull the shit that Abraham Lincoln pulled in order to achieve that, we would have a serious problem with it, So, it's just people don't truly understand like the true history around, Abraham Lincoln, like every human being, is a complicated human being. There's a complicated story there, and you need to understand the nuance to have a real clear, accurate picture, but they don't, and they'll say, well, it was the Republicans that freed the slaves. Yes, you're right. But then understand the significance of that statement and the history, because in the Civil Rights Act, we know that the parties flipped. So those Republicans today would be Democrats. So what you're saying is, it's just, it's a funny thing that happens to me over and over again. I will go and just ramble on. I am kind of brain dead. So we talked about your family and your friends are supportive. Who do you watch on YouTube besides myself? Who do you like watching on YouTube?
Honestly, until I found you, and I also a little bit was watching Mr. Atheist, but then really wasn't too. I just didn't like his content at a certain point, so I just stopped. But I've never unsubscribed from Logic.
Logic, he's one that I need to check out.
You know, although he doesn't upload too frequently, he's always, that's the kind of content I want. You know, going after the ideology, and you know, going after people who are, you know, espousing false science and whatnot. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. So
I would definitely recommend Cult of Dusty, but older stuff. You'd want to go into his playlist. His newer stuff isn't like his older stuff was. But Matt Dillahunty, if you haven't watched much Matt Dillahunty, his debates, you know, you got to watch him.
Actually, I used to watch, like, you know, the Atheist Experience, but recently I watched the discussion with him and Jordan Peterson. I watched the discussion with him and Aaron Ra.
Oh yeah, so yeah, you're familiar with him.
Yeah.
Let me think. Who else? Rationality Rules is really good right now, but he's like Logic, how you were saying. He just doesn't put out much content. So it's like, or, you know, it's waiting and waiting, like, holy shit, dude, come on. I don't want to wait this long for another video. It's like one a month, maybe. You know?
I'll look up Rationality Rules, because I know I'm forgetful, and I'll forget that you even said anything.
Yeah, you'll like him. I think my Earl video, I think it's going to be Monday. I'm having fun with him. It's going to be interesting.
Right.
He's an English guy. I do have a thing for English accents. It could be man or woman. I hear an English accent. I like that person. I don't know why, because I know that some English people can be shitty, but I'm going to like you until you're shitty. And then I'm like, all right, even though your accent's cool, you're shitty.
I have a similar thing with Spanish accents. I love them.
Yeah.
But I'm probably biased, you know.
Yeah, we all have our biases. You know, I am definitely biased towards like people, single dads with daughters. I deal with that every day of my life. People say I treat people differently because they're a single dad, and I do. You know, or just a single parent, doesn't have to be a dad, but a single parent. I understand the struggle.
I definitely know that one. I mean, like, I don't, like, for the most part, I don't really care. I don't care about race. But I remember one time back when I was working, there was this group, and they were just all Black and Hispanic people, and they just resonated with me so well. And on top of that, they were just, you know, they were really nice and polite, and I just felt like just extra inclined to help them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I try to be helpful of all people if I can be.
The problem though was I was working at a Six Flags park, and they don't attract the best crowds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've only been to a Six Flag once in my life, and I was really, really young. Can't remember it too much. We didn't have. I think we had one in Georgia down there, maybe somewhere. But it was further away than our little stuff we had in North Carolina. Carol Winds.
Working at those parks is like, that shit is just terrible. You know, like,
really? I've heard horror stories.
They somehow attract like the lowest common denominator of people. Jesus
is Lord. Why are you up in here? Like, Jesus is Lord has been watching me all day. Like, I really think he has a crush.
What I find funny is that he was talking earlier, he called everybody soy boys. I'm like, you are literally here all day, every day in front of your fucking computer watching somebody whose content you don't like just to be a troll, and you're calling other people soy boys, my dude?
Yeah, I know, man.
Like, you're probably like, what did you like? Didn't some say he's like 46? So this is probably like some fat old like black neck beard who can't see his dick and just sitting there just being annoying, quoting the Bible all day. Like,
I know, man. Like, and everybody when I'm getting a lot of comments of people watching my conversation with them, like, don't go that low. You could do better than that. like. I mean, I enjoyed the conversation. It got heated, but like he said some crazy shit. Like, he's literally saying, wrong, the party's never flipped. Like, dude, have you studied history? Like,
that whole thing was just a shit.
The Dixiecrats, I mean, do you not know history, man?
Like JIL, look, you can believe you're crap all you want, but do us all a favor and get a life.
And then, like, and he calls me beta, and I just don't see, like, there's nothing about me that screams beta. You know, like, if you look up beta in the dictionary, they'll have an opposite picture, and that picture's me.
Like,
You know, like, dude, I am the farthest thing away from a beta, but it's funny that a beta is calling me a beta. That's kind
yeah, it's like that shit. Like, I don't like what I always find funny is that people who use shit like that, they are always exactly what they're trying to call other people, and they're never intelligent enough to be able to discuss anything. And then they're just a joke. And I feel bad, but you can only say some dumb shit so many times before I just want to make fun of you.
Yep. Oh, MZ thinks you are hot as fuck.
Thanks, man. I've been getting that a lot since birth. I was,
Since
it's
birth.
the Latin sexiness,
This is why we're gonna get along, because I am the same level of cocky. You can never get tired of hearing how hot you are.
No.
You just never can. At the Raging Atheist, what evidence were you shown about this switch? Dude,
Oh my fucking
God. All right. New rule. Don't read Jesus is Lord while in the middle of a conversation. Holy crap, dude. MZ, I do want to address. You said something earlier in my conversation with Pastor Wilson that I totally agree with you. That it is totally wrong to think that somebody to cease a lifestyle with disdain, to even have that disdain is wrong in its essence. My issue is that we're not going to change people's worldviews to that extent. Like, I will take the win if I can just get them to say, okay, it's wrong, but it's not my business, and that's kind of what I got from him. So that's why I didn't press him on it. But in retrospect, as I was kind of watching it before Wujeeta came on, I felt like I should have probably pressed him a little harder on that. And thank you for that compliment. I will take hot for an old dude.
yeah.
All right. But yeah, we're having a good conversation between atheists, and I'm enjoying this. This is awesome. So do you have you listened to like what I would consider atheist music? Like my intro is Hobson's Ill Mind of Hobson's 7. Like, do you find, like, I personally, and I'm just kind of curious if this is just me, but I automatically kind of like a song if it denounces God within that song at some point.
I honestly don't think I've actually heard any. Like, I'm too busy listening to like Queen and shit to really even.
Oh,
like if you can point me in the direction of some of that, I'll listen to it. But
Ill Mind of Hobson 7, dude, I call it the atheist national anthem. But I mean, it's really kind of hard to find. You do have some.
Mind of Hobson 7, you said?
Yeah, Ill Mind of Hobson 7 is what I call the atheist anthem, and it's you'll recognize my little intro music from it. I mean, so you're in college. What are you studying in college?
Excuse me. When I first joined, I was gonna go into political science and fine art because I had some kind of foolish hope in politics, and then after realizing that it frustrated me, I decided to go with what called to me, which instead was physics and art. So I'm gonna plan on going, becoming a physicist and honing my art skills because they've been doing this shit for too long to stop now.
Oh, that's sweet. That's awesome, man. I think more people should get into the arts. I've been drawing my whole life and writing my whole life, and
you should know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't just stop.
Yeah. Oh no.
Too much effort, and you love it too much. You'll go insane if you stop.
Oh yeah, I've had people tell me it's a phase my whole life, or I'll come down from the clouds and stop dreaming. And I've worked my whole life and I've never stopped dreaming. I've never had stopped that dream. You can't stop the creative process once it's begun. And I might never publish a book, but I'll always write them. It's like a compulsion. I can't help myself.
Hey, can you just give me 1 second? I got a phone call. I'm just going to mute myself.
Oh yeah, no problem. All right, yeah, this is a good call, guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. My phone has been blowing up all day too. So we'll see. Atheist Rationale's in the house. MZ's in the house. Free Spirit. This one guy back again. Really enjoyed our conversation earlier. This one guy, I thought it was one of the more productive conversations I've had with the believer. Lady Tasha, Girl of my dreams is in the house. Let's see. Jesus is Lord is just trolling. I'm really glad that Jesus is Lord is a new fan. I really love my fans, Jill, and I'll treat you right. I will only curse you out once a day. And that time is now. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, I think he's a really good guest, man. This is awesome. I enjoy talking to atheists. I think more atheists should talk to other atheists. And I think they do, but I can definitely understand giving precedence to theists and trying to have that debate. But it is definitely refreshing, considering this is my third conversation of the day, to not really have to, have these quick fire responses to religious ideology, that we can just shoot the shit as atheists, talk about what we like.
I'm back.
All right, what's up, man?
Yeah, it's my mom. She's asking me a few questions.
Oh yeah. Hopefully she's not watching you on right now.
No. I told her I was going to be in a discussion. I was afraid that she was going to ask me what about. Luckily, she didn't.
Yeah. We don't want that. Like I'm always often afraid that people I work with or people that I don't want to see my videos are going to see my videos, and I'm like, I'm going to have to really explain myself to these people. Still to this day, and I've been an atheist for 15, 20 years now. Sometimes it's hard to remember the exact dates.
Shit.
Jesus is Lord still talking to me. Again, I asked what evidence were you shown that there was...
I thought you said the rule was no more reading his comments during the conversation.
I know. Oh my God. What evidence? Oh my fucking God. It's called a history book, dude. It's called a history book. You could probably go to 4th grade U.S. history and learn this. I'm sure that I am sure that a 4th grade teacher would be more than willing to have you in their class, so you're not so fucking stupid.
It's like there's the only reason I said yes to JIL's debate is because I want to see what I'm pretty sure I know what's going to happen, but I want to see whether this is going to go exactly where I think it's going to go, which is I'm going to eviscerate him, and then he's going to walk out and say that he won and he destroyed me, or if something else happens. Can't think of anything else that would happen, but something else, which I doubt. But I've never destroyed creationists before on in a debate. Usually it's in the comments. You destroy them so bad that they stop replying and stuff. That's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is fun, and it's infuriating sometimes. Like after my conversation, not so much with you, Joe, because I found Jesus to be funny, but standing for truth, I just really, after that conversation, just wanted to bash my head against the wall for a good solid 10 minutes, just to feel better, because I felt really shitty about humanity after that conversation.
Oh, excuse me. No,
you're good.
Speaking of feeling shitty about humanity, one thing that made me feel bad was watching when you apologized to Brett Keane for calling the manatee. That shit hurt me because I have known how much of a piece of shit Brett Keane is for so long. You know how bad I felt that you felt you needed to apologize. The
fat shaming argument that they put at me for my thumbnail especially got to me. But I did not end up taking it down. But yeah, I did apologize to him, and he was such a dick about it that I regret apologizing to him.
Brett Keane, if you ever watch this, go fuck yourself. Yes, It was me who prank called you and did the impression of you. I was in high school and I thought it was hilarious. I still think it's funny now. And I know you weren't gonna call the cops, you lying piece of shit.
Yeah, he totally took that goodwill gesture and just did the shittiest thing you could do. All right, dude, I admit I'm wrong. I shouldn't have done that. I feel bad about it. And he just totally was like, yeah, you should feel bad about it, you fucker. And I'm like, all right, fuck you. Fuck you. I let the manatee thumbnail up,
did you have you I don't know, you said you were learning more about him, but have you do you know anything about the whole situation with him and TJ?
No, I don't. I do want to go back and watch that, because people have told me I need to that's where it all stems from. But I only really have secondhand accounts, so yeah, I don't know the story.
I don't want to do any he said, she said, but it's just throughout all that, he is a pathetic human being. That's the greatest summary of it all.
Yeah, and that's everybody's told me that. Like everybody, even the people, most of the people that were like, dude, that's really not cool, which, you know, with the manatee picture and shit, they were like, but don't get me wrong, he's a cunt.
Oh man.
Yeah, he is a piece of work, man. I have learned a little bit of his story.
It is.
It blew my mind. I mean, he's one of the few people that actually made a direct video to the Raging Atheist trying to combat me. And it just, I don't think he realizes just how shitty the things he says were. And then he's going to get mad at me for saying shitty things back.
Yeah, he's basically, he's just another one who's just kind of a child. You know, I guess what I've learned about people like him, you know, because he's manipulative, you know, he plays with people's information, tries to hurt them, and then make himself look like he's the victim or the hero of the situation. But
yeah,
people like that, for some reason, they're always good at manipulation, and in every other facet, they are fucking morons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can just look at him and tell, like, he's probably not too happy with his life, and he probably lives this miserable life that he fucking hates, so he takes it out on everybody else. You know, and you want to feel sympathy for him, and then he opens his fucking mouth, and it's like, there goes the sympathy. You know, like my brain always goes back to this one clip I remember of Brett Keane watching on the Drunken Peasants, and he's just sitting there with a bowl of fucking chili. He's like, my beautiful wife Dorn made me this bowl of chili, and he just takes a bite. He's like, no cheese, and in that moment, that whole scene just embodies how sad and pathetic his life is. That doesn't surprise me. Yeah, I could totally see him as one of those dicks that's gonna totally be pissed off at his wife about some fucking cheese, you know? Like, get your ass up and go get some cheese, motherfucker.
Oh man, the stupid shit Brett Keane has done is great. And
yeah, I've heard some stories. Yeah, I've heard some pretty stories about how he's gotten people's channels taken down, and you know, if he'll degrade you, but the moment you start degrading him, he'll work towards getting strikes put on your channel. And yeah, I've heard some pretty shitty shit. Yeah,
my favorite moment was I'm sure somebody's re-uploaded it. Is he posted a video where he was talking about false flagging videos and shows him false flagging videos, and then the next second, when he deletes the video, he's like, I never did that. I never said that.
Yeah, I've heard that story directly. Yeah, like, yeah, the story where he deleted the video and said he never said it when everybody saw him say it. You know, like, yeah, I've heard that directly. I haven't actually seen like video evidence of that, but I've heard about that story.
The best part about Brett Keane is everything he's done is recorded, and everybody knows he's full of shit, and somehow he's still going.
Yeah, and he still gets people like, that's what, like, don't feed the manatee, and I'm like, dude, I already made the videos. I don't want to like not put them out. And he did talk shit to me, but then, you know, what sold me on actually putting them out was I saw Aaron Rod did a recent video on him. I'm like, all right, if Aaron Rod can do it, I can do it. But I don't think I'm gonna mess with him anymore because I just don't want that drama, and I definitely don't want him trying to false flag me.
All right, now quick question. Have you experienced the great blessing that is G-Man?
Not yet. I've been told that I got to watch out for that guy. I did watch a little bit of his meltdown on Skylar Fiction.
like imagine JIL, but he actually throws tantrums in the middle of a debate. That's G-Man.
Like, that's what I saw, and it's just, I would try to yell at somebody and get their attention, but yeah, throwing a damn tantrum like that, from what I saw in Skylar Fiction, was funny as hell.
It's funny until it's not. Then you just annoy and you want him to go away.
Yeah. Does he still do stuff? Like, most of the stuff that I saw was like really old.
I just saw a video. A video. I forget what show it was on. Aaron Raw was there, and there was like 15 different people in the discussion, and G-Man was there at a certain point. I can't remember whether it was posted 2 months ago or further back than that, but I just watched it, I think, last week.
That's not too long ago.
And it gets started out, you know, it's funny, he's stupid, and then it just became so sad because you have all these people, some of them Christians too, and you just watch them all cringe as this petulant child is just annoying everyone. And this man is, I think he's older than you. Like he's like in his mid-40s.
Really? Holy shit! No, yeah, I'll have to check him out. I haven't checked that out too much of that. See, I watched Drunken Peasants a shit ton when they first came out, and you know, it was Scotty and Ben and TJ and Paul's ego, and I stopped watching them. So for a long time, it was just I just didn't have time to watch too many YouTube atheists anymore. So I didn't even realize until recently that TJ wasn't on the show anymore. And I kind of found out a little bit from Cyrus when I went on Drunken Peasants for Cyrus. I was like, man, is TJ, you know, am I going to be meeting the amazing atheist? Is he still working with him? And no, I didn't even really know too much about it.
Yeah, I stopped watching when TJ, Scotty, and Paul left, because I mean Ben's cool and all, but those three were the heart of the show. Like like when Paul joined the show, that was great. Like, he was like the perfect foil to TJ.
Yeah, I think Paul's ego was probably my favorite. Just how him and TJ went back and forth. I wasn't a big Scotty fan. I always liked Ben just because Ben is quirky. You know, Ben is Ben.
Yeah, the thing with Scotty is, you're back in the old days of the Drunken Peasants, he was pretty fucking lame. But over time, he learned, and now on their new show, Deep Fat Fried, I think Scotty makes me chuckle every once in a while.
See, I've heard he's gotten better, and yeah, I did watch it. It was like right when they first started. I probably watched the first, I don't know, 25, 30 episodes. So yeah, Scotty was probably brand new to it, and it wasn't that I didn't like Scotty. It was just that he was my least favorite of them. You know, like I liked everybody else just a little bit more than him. You know, but I was an Amazing Atheist fan, so I mean, I was pretty much like, I'm only really watching this for TJ. But I grew an appreciation for all of them. You know?
At first I was just watching it for TJ, but then Paul happened, and I was like, "Fuck TJ, man."
Yeah, Paul's ego really he brought me back into watching it. You know, when he came on, I started watching it again, and I really enjoyed that interaction. He was great, and I still enjoy him. Like I watch him whenever I can if I get a chance to. I did watch his interview with Brett Keane, one of their things together, and yes, it's just funny, man.
You know, I know this is a little further back the conversation, but one thing I do love about the whole soy boy thing, like whenever I get called something like that on the internet, I'm just like, "You stupid motherfucker, I'm beautiful," you know?
yeah. I love it when people make comments or slurs. Usually it means that they're intimidated by the other person's looks. You know,
it's like, but for me, people don't even know. Like, this is the first time I've shown my face just publicly on YouTube. It's like, you don't even know.
You've got a good response.
Like, I don't have titties, my boy.
Yeah. That was probably the hardest thing for me when I first started YouTube. Was I first started it just as I was losing my baby face. So it was my self-consciousness. Like I look old. But I'll never be old. I don't think I'll be that old dude that acts like he's young.
Yeah, man. But I guess for me, it's, you know, I pretty much grew up on the internet. Like YouTube, when YouTube first came to being, I was like 5 or 6 years old. So for me, I've been like, my childhood was learning this shit.
Yeah,
I don't understand the rest of the internet, but YouTube, I know this bitch like the back of my hand.
Oh, that's my daughter, man. She's, you know, it's like second nature for her. You know, she watches YouTube nonstop. I gotta make sure she's watching the right stuff. But yeah, I had a much different experience growing up. Like, you know, our big technology thing when I was real small was the fucking Atari, like the first video game thing that ever came out. If you had that, you was the shit, you know. And then it just slowly graduated. I don't think I ever had my first real computer until I was an adult. Our family didn't have one. One of my friends' family had one, but, you know, that when I grew up, having a computer was a class symbol. Like you were upper class if you had a computer, you know, and then everything became more accessible. So yeah, your generation is definitely completely different than mine. You guys were raised with that technology. It's all second nature to you. To where me, I'm still learning. You know, like I said, I just learned how to make thumbnails for YouTube, and I've been on YouTube for 3 years, almost 3 years. Yeah.
But what's trippy for me is like I'm still young. I mean, I'm almost 19. Like for me, right? And just seeing like these, like when I was a kid, like my computer was like big as shit. You know, it was like this wide, like this wide front to back, and it ran like shit. And and the fucking they had the blue screen of death and shit, and it would make that weird clicking sound when it loaded. Now kids are walking around with iPads, and they're like 3 years old. That for me is trippy, because for me, like the technology is so primitive compared to what the kids have now. I'm not even old.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Old, I mean. You know, I remember Oregon Trail and you know the Carmen Sandiego games and shit. Like, you want to talk primitive? We had some super primitive shit, and then you look at today, like you're basically walking around like we basically live in the Jetsons without the flying cars. You know, we have our little phones that we can face chat with people and pull up vast amounts of information at the touch of a finger. Like just the amount of where we've come. And this is really the reason why religion is dying away, and why, you know, apologists like Jesus is Lord and all these crazy people are going to try to speak against actually getting a real honest education, is because they know once you're intelligent enough, you're going to see through all that bullshit, you know. They fear intelligence. But yeah, man, I'm gonna get off of here. It's been about an hour. My daughter is
an hour already. Holy
shit. She's really wanting me to pay some attention to her. I really enjoyed this conversation. I want to invite you to come on and talk anytime you want. Anytime you have any issues with any things that I'm doing video wise, or if anything that I'm saying, or if you just want to come on and maybe be a raging atheist for a while. Anytime you're welcome to come on and have a talk with me. Shoot me an email and I'll have you on anytime you want to come on.
That's cool, man. It's been a great talk.
Yeah, dude, I really enjoyed it. And you're only 19 years old. Holy shit, man. You know, you're young. You got a whole fucking battle of climate change throughout your life.
Oh man. That's another thing that I'm scared of. Fucking climate change. Nobody takes that shit seriously.
Yeah. Well, next time we talk, we will have us a good talk about climate change. I've been wanting to have a talk about climate change with somebody. So next time I bring you on, we'll talk about climate change. Because that's one of my passions in life. And to all you guys in the chat, I haven't really seen too much of what's going on. Hopefully you enjoy Jesus is Lord. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and holler at Wujeeta every time you see him in the comment section. Tell him to come on more, because this was a great conversation. And I really want to thank everybody. And Wujeeta, anytime, man. I enjoyed having you. You're an awesome young man.
Whoever said I was sexy, you know, I'm single, so what's up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, put that out there. Girls, my man is single here. So, you know, get at him. All right, man. I'm going to see everybody later. I will see you guys soon.
All right.